Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Today, we're going to be looking at something that's been very significant to not only us, but all Ohioans and all throughout the global world. And that's identity theft awareness. Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General's Office, Dave Yost. Ryan, always a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks for having me again. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You know, when we recorded this, it was Identity Theft Awareness Week, but just because it was that week doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't always be prepared for identity theft.
That's true. I like to say that every week is Identity Theft Awareness Week these days. But technically, Identity Theft Awareness Week was January 31st through February 4th in 2022. It's always sort of the end of January, beginning of February these days. And the Ohio Attorney General's Office commemorates that usually with some events, some webinars, some more public awareness of the identity theft we see throughout our communities and throughout the globe. And certainly the Federal Trade Commission at the federal level does a lion's share of work federally to make the whole country aware of identity theft as well. And we're certainly seeing more and more identity theft, it seems, every year. In fact, according to one study, an identity theft occurs every 2 seconds in this world. And where identity theft actually costs people money, it can be $1,500, $2,000 out of pocket for folks if they are exposed to losses based on their identity theft. So it's a dollars and cents issue. It's certainly an issue involving our privacy and our right to be secure in our being. So identity theft is a big issue, as are data breaches. We see more and more companies that are exposing our personal information and our files to data breaches. So certainly they're not doing it knowingly, but when they expose or compromise our personal information, whether it's because of a hacker or whether it's because of just loosely handling the data in a manner that they otherwise shouldn't be doing, it can expose our credentials and our personal information, social security numbers, PINs, passwords, mother's maiden names, credit card numbers, all of that kind of personal identifying information that we would not want to fall in the hands of strangers can leak out if a company or an organization is subject to a data breach.
You know, Ryan, it's amazing to me. We have had, especially with the onset of computer and internet, a lot of educational programs about identity theft. And yet you're saying every 2 seconds. That is amazing to me that even though we have the safeguards that have been put in place, and even though we use a variety of different security internet, it still occurs.
Absolutely. And I think some of it is controllable and a lot of it is non-controllable by us as consumers. For example, when you go into a coffee shop, are you using free public Wi-Fi? And when you're on free public Wi-Fi, are you going ahead and doing things in an unsafe way, sharing credit card numbers, sharing PINs and passwords, not keeping as tight of control over that personal information as you otherwise should? And then, of course, a lot of the things are unbeknownst to us. You know, we entrust our doctors, we entrust our credit card companies, the credit reporting agencies, government agencies, all these people with data like our social security number, our account numbers, our PINs and passwords. And, you know, everyone everyone can be exposed to identity theft. I don't think at this point in time anyone is 100% certain that regardless of how much money they spend to defend their networks, that it's not going to get breached, that it's not going to get hacked into, that they're not going to be exposed. So I think I mentioned every 2 seconds there's a data breach or an identity theft issue. That came from CBS News a couple years ago. But I would say that more often than that are attempts to infiltrate people's networks, whether it's someone's home network or a company's network. Could be Target, could be Home Depot, it could be the Office of Personnel Management at the federal level. These are all real organizations that have suffered data breaches in the last 10, 20 years. It can be a store we shop at. It can be a credit card we hold. It can be a small business that we depend on. And they could lose their livelihood if their data, if they expose your data and they have to shut down their systems and their operations to fix the leak or the hack. So these get into really serious dollar and cents issues, and certainly our privacy. You can't put any price on privacy and the ability for us to control the flow of our personal information and our data.
Even though we become very sophisticated in our security, the individuals that are hacking our system are also becoming very sophisticated.
Absolutely. And, I've seen in the news lately, it's 2022. I read about China. I read about Russia. I read about different countries trying to infiltrate government and organizational technology and trying to get into the infrastructure. So certainly this can transpond our boundaries. This can go worldwide and global in terms of folks that are trying to get into private networks and trying to expose personal information. And certainly there are whole criminal rings out there that buy and sell social security numbers on the dark web. There are folks out there that barter and buy and sell our personal information. And that's a scary thought. I don't want it to make folks paranoid, but it should make folks stand guard and be on top of their personal information. And sometimes it's as simple as requesting that free credit report and reviewing that free credit report for information that you think is not true. A credit card you never requested, a loan that you never requested. If it's opened up into your credit report, that's something you need to clear up. You could be a victim of identity theft. So we really encourage everyone watching to go to one particular website to get copies of their free credit report. And that is www.annualcreditreport.com. That's www.annualcreditreport.com. That is the one site that was built into the legislation, so to speak, 20 years ago that allowed us to get a free credit report every year with no cost to us and no drop in our credit score for getting our copy of our own credit report. So www.annualcreditreport.com. And something is going on right now because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Through April 19th of 2022, you actually get access to all three of your credit reports on a weekly basis if you want to. So if you want more information, go to annualcreditreport.com and find out more information about how to get access to your annual credit report. And if you need a toll-free number to call, if you don't have access to the web, the phone number for Annual Credit Report is 877-322-8228. That's 877-322-8228.
Let's suppose that I got hit with my credit report that I didn't initiate. Someone used my credit card. Should I contact you first, State of Ohio Attorney General's office?
I think the most important call you make is to your credit card company to let them know it's been compromised. Getting a new credit card, maybe a new physical card, certainly a new credit card number. Things like that are priority number one. You certainly can report if you believe you're a victim of identity theft. You can certainly report that to our office, especially if you need us to help help rectify the effects of identity theft. We actually are lucky in the state of Ohio. Attorney General Yost and the administration of the Attorney General's office gives us resources to have an identity theft unit. And we offer traditional assistance where we can help you rectify the effects if you are a true victim of identity theft, especially if someone has rung up credit card bills or loans or things like that using your good name. We can help put a stop to it. We can help clear up the problems. So you can certainly go to our website, www.ohioprotects.org. And our toll-free number of the Ohio Attorney General's Help Center is 800-282-0515. That's 800-282-0515. If you need help with identity theft assistance, we can provide it. Now, there are some exceptions. If it's something like unemployment compensation, identity theft, or if it's something involving tax issues, usually we have to refer those to your primary resources. For workers for unemployment, compensation, identity thefts, that's the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. And for tax identity theft, that's usually the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. But there are cases that we can handle ourselves and try to make sure that you get the information you need to put yourself on solid footing.
I believe you have a video that helps to look at identity theft.
Yeah, let's take a look at a video from ohioprotects.org from the Ohio Attorney General's Consumer Protection Section website, and it is about COVID and related identity theft. Gives you an example of how identity theft can creep into your life with a COVID-related scam.
These are the Clarks. This year, they're doing things to stay safe during the pandemic. But when Ken Clark receives an unexpected call from someone offering a new machine that kills the COVID virus instantly, he's very interested. The caller then tells Ken there will be a charge for this new and novel product. But if Ken gives him his social security number, he would see if insurance would cover the cost of the machine. Ken isn't sure about giving out his social security number, but doesn't want to miss this opportunity, especially if insurance will pay for it. So he gives the caller his information. As soon as he gives out his information, though, he realizes it may have been a bad idea. And weeks later, he knows it was a bad idea when no product ever shows up. So what can Ken do? First, he should see if any fraudulent accounts have been opened in his name by checking his credit report at annualcreditreport.com. Free credit reports are being offered weekly through April 2021. He may also consider placing a fraud alert on his credit file by contacting one of the big 3 credit reporting agencies, or even adding a permanent security freeze by contacting all 3 agencies. For help with identity theft, contact Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost's office by visiting ohioprotects.org.
Okay, so that was a little bit about identity theft from the Ohio Attorney General's office. Now, I will say that that date in the video has been updated. The credit reporting agencies now are allowing consumers through April 19th, 2022 to get those free weekly credit reports. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of looking top to bottom to those credit reports for any errors you think are there, any credit you have never taken out that's listed there, any statuses that need to be updated or cleared up. That's your source for finding information about yourself that serves to help you control your credit and help your credit score. And that means that you can clear up identity theft issues as well as potentially impact your interest rate for home loans, for mortgages, for lines of credit, credit cards, things like that. So it can only help you when you clear up those errors and work with the credit reporting agencies to dispute inaccuracies and to make sure that whatever clouds are hanging over you are appropriately cleared up in the proper timing.
About 45 years ago, or maybe 50 years ago, when families would start having children, they were required by the federal government to get a social security number for their children. Even though it's a good idea, many times those social security numbers are possibly an identity theft kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely. I
would
mean,
imagine that if I just had a child 4 years ago and they have a social security number, should I check their credit report also?
absolutely. I'm hopeful you'll get back that there's no credit in their name. But you can take an extra step beyond that these days in Ohio and throughout the country. You can get what you call a child credit freeze for a guardian that you are looking after, or a child under the age of 16. You guys have the right to get a child credit freeze. So you can go to each one of the credit reporting agencies, and there's 3 of them: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And you can ask to freeze your child's credit. That means if there's no credit report open in their name, which there shouldn't be, they'll open a credit report and immediately put a freeze on it until they turn 16 years old, in which case they can remove the freeze if they so choose. The child turning 16 can remove the freeze. That is a really important safeguard we have against child identity theft, because even though the child has no credit, they also have no black marks on their credit. They have no foreclosures, they have no bankruptcies, they have no defaults. So a child's social security number in the hands of a criminal, in the hands of an identity thief, can be a dangerous tool in their toolbox to committing identity theft and fraud. So everybody out there listening, contact Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion to get a child credit freeze for your children. Really important. It's free, doesn't cost any money, doesn't hurt anybody's credit score, and it simply serves as peace of mind for you and for your child as they grow up through the ages, so that they are protected from identity theft.
Suppose that I have a credit card that I haven't used in 2 or 3 years. Am I susceptible to getting some kind of credit theft on that card?
Well, if you haven't utilized the card, and if you haven't put the credit card number in online or told someone it over the phone, chances are you may not be a victim of identity theft, but you still need to check your credit report. And that card should be listed on your credit report. It should be active and open on your credit report, hopefully without any late charges or past due bills put on your credit report. Because remember, a credit report is sort of like your report card. If you've paid late, if you've suffered late fees, if you fail to pay on time, or default on a credit line or a credit card, those are the kinds of things that can hurt your credit score and be noticed right away when you look at your credit report. So it's important to scrutinize that credit report line by line. If you see unfamiliar banks, if you see cards that have been reopened when they were closed years ago, if you see a card with a lot of past due charges when you haven't even used the card in several years, like the example you mentioned, those are the kinds of things you need to iron out right away. And checking your credit report can alert you to those types of possibilities in terms of problems. And then, of course, the solutions really is in your hands to go to the credit reporting agency, report it as an error, and to work out an identity theft. The steps that you need to take if you do actually get an identity theft issue in your life, you definitely want to review your entire credit report. You want to file a police report, and you at least want to place an initial fraud alert on your credit file. And remember those credit reporting agencies that I named, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion? You need to get on the phone with at least one of them and put on your account what's called an initial fraud alert. And they have a duty to notify the other 2 credit reporting agencies of your desire. And that is very, very important, because that will make sure that creditors will ask for proper identification before putting credit in your name to someone who claims to have your social security number or other personal identifying information and are claiming to be you. Instead of issuing the credit, it's sort of like stop, make sure, get that identifiable information from whoever's claiming to be you, so credit is not issued in your name. So getting that initial fraud alert is very important. Another thing people can do is get a credit freeze. Similar to what they can do for their child, they can do for themselves. You can contact Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion and ask for a credit freeze. And if you get a credit freeze, that means your credit will be frozen. No new creditor will be issuing credit in your name until you lift the freeze. You can lift it temporarily and then refreeze it if you just want to get a credit check for an auto loan you might have needing to take out, or a new credit card you want to establish. Then you can freeze it back up, or you can permanently lift the credit freeze if you want to be able to go and get credit maybe on a regular basis, or if you just don't want that freeze on your account any longer, you can always lift that credit freeze. But a credit freeze is absolutely free throughout the United States. And again, you want to go to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, all three of those credit reporting agencies. And you can get more information and details about their websites and toll-free numbers at ohioprotects.org. We have a flyer called Identity Theft Basics that lists all that contact information, all the phone numbers and websites that you need to get a credit freeze, to get an initial fraud alert, and to, of course, get copies of your credit report. It's as easy as going to annualcreditreport.com for all three of the credit reporting agencies, and your files are at all three. There are a couple of videos I wanted to show. Maybe we can even do it back to back from the Federal Trade Commission, which is, of course, a major partner of ours in trying to control identity theft and protect consumers.
Identity theft happens. It's an unfortunate fact of modern life. But there are certain steps you can take to help keep your personal information from falling into the wrong hands. Every day you do things to protect what's most important to you. And you know what? You do them almost automatically. Routine things like looking both ways before you cross, brushing your teeth, and buckling your seatbelt. Another routine to get into is keeping tabs on your identity and personal information. Here are 5 easy ways you can do it. Read your credit card and bank statements carefully and often. Know your payment due dates. If a bill doesn't show up when you expect it, look into it. Read the statements from your health insurance plan. Make sure the claims paid match the care you got. Shred any documents with personal and financial information. Review each of your 3 credit reports at least once a year. It's easy and it's free. And before you know it, protecting your personal information can be as routine as locking your doors at night. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
Okay, and I also wanted to take the opportunity to plug a related website. If you want to help control identity theft, and if you know identity theft has become apparent in your life, no matter what form of identity theft, there can be financial identity theft, tax identity theft, even medical and criminal identity theft. There is a nice self-serve website out there from the Federal Trade Commission, and that's simply identitytheft.gov. That can take you step by step by step to rectify the effects of identity theft if you don't want help from the Ohio Attorney General's office. They can give you form letters. They can help you help yourself in terms of reestablishing your good name and your good credit. I want to take the time now to share again a video from the Federal Trade Commission. This one emphasizes the importance of checking your credit report.
Shopping for a car? Applying for a job? Looking for a home? Or just getting your financial house in order? Then it's time to check your credit report. Good news, it's free. The law entitles you to one free copy of your credit report from each of the 3 nationwide credit reporting companies every 12 months. Why is it important to check your credit report? It has important information about your financial accounts, how you pay your bills, and if you file for bankruptcy. You want to make sure everything is accurate, especially before you buy a house or a car or apply for a job. If you notice something wrong, contact the credit reporting company and business providing the information to correct the error. And checking your report can help you guard against identity theft. Visit ftc.gov/ID theft if you spot accounts that aren't yours. How do you order your free credit report? Order online from annualcreditreport.com, the only authorized website for free credit reports, or call 1-877-322-8228. You'll need to provide your name, address, social security number, and date of birth to verify your identity. Keep in mind, you're entitled to one free copy of your credit report every 12 months from each of the 3 nationwide credit reporting companies. So the next time someone asks, "How's your credit?" you'll have the answer. To order your free credit report, visit annualcreditreport.com or call 1-877-322-8228.
Those are very good videos. Something to keep in mind. I know that we as individuals need constant reminders. And
Absolutely.
The Federal Trade Commission, the State of Ohio Attorney General's office is there to not only help us, but also remind us.
Absolutely. And it can be everything from making sure that you shred all your important outdated documents that contain personal information, to regularly updating your computer software and your mobile apps, making sure that you have strong passwords that are unique to each account and difficult to guess. Passwords should be at least 12 characters. And a lot of times security experts these days are recommending passphrases that'll be hard for someone to guess, even if they know a little bit about you. So setting a passcode on your smartphone so somebody can't pick up your phone right where you left off and get into your personal information. All those things can button up your security and privacy issues so that you don't have data leaking out and get into an identity theft situation.
And Ryan, I want to thank you especially for putting this together that really reminds us identity theft is not gone away.
Absolutely not. It takes our proactive actions. It takes us doing our due diligence every day to make sure that our own identities are secure, that we check our credit reports, and even doing things like taking the mail to the post office if it has personal identifying information on it, checking our mail promptly. All those little steps are very, very crucial to protecting our identity.
We're talking with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General's office. Ryan, thank you.